Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell and welcome to 10,000 and Below, where I go through Board Game Geek, the biggest database on games on the internet, all the games that are ranked 10,000 or less, and just take a quick look at some of them. Now, as I've been saying as I've been going through this series, because of I'm doing them at different times, I can't record 20 hours straight, the games are changing in the database. So you're going to see games today that I've talked about before, but a listener, Jared, emailed me and gave me the idea, which is obvious in retrospect, that I could take snapshots of every single page at one time and then that this won't happen again. So today you'll see a few games that I've talked about before, but this should be the last point. Also, I did this snapshot on June 2nd, 2020. So, you know, things might change if you're watching this much later on, of course. But let's continue on. So like I said, you'll see a few games we talked about before today, but it should be the last time. So here we go. We're starting at 13,201. We always take a look at the first and last game because that's an arbitrary rule I made. And so we have Palio. Is this a dieting game, you wonder? No, it's a crazy horse race. It takes place in Siena on July 2nd and August 16th. All right, it's a little racing game from 2008. Doesn't have a lot of ratings, but it certainly looks interesting. Wow, it has a really similar look to Ave Caesar. Now, I don't know that I'm not looking at like an enhanced version of the game. So let's see if there's more pictures of it. No, it looks like that's the game. Oh, that looks like well, I don't know if that horseshoe comes with it, but that does look like a game that if I came across my shelf that I might play. Alrighty, Number Chase we talked about before. We've talked about Love Pigs before. Situation 7, that sounds interesting. Ooh, that's one of those fake covers, right, where everyone's having a good time. At least the whole family gets to play in this one. What is Situation 7? We're putting together the pieces of a puzzle. We each have a complete puzzle. The two puzzles are identical except the background shade and a piece of each puzzle are interchangeable with each other. Well, that's actually pretty fascinating if you think about it. So two identical puzzles, and you want your... Wow, I like the concept of that. It's weird, I've never heard of this before, but that is pretty fascinating, where you're trying to put out your puzzle pieces first, and they all fit together. Now, it sounds like a very one-time playable thing, but looks like there's pieces on the board, and you're... This is very interesting. I love this concept. That's cool. That's Situation 7. Glad we ran across that one. Menu mashup we talked about that. Eating game where you put stuff together. The menus. This one has 70 ratings. Leinhandlos. I feel like I've played this one. It's from Zoc. It was the Spiel des Jahres children's game winner. Maybe that's how I've heard of it. I have not reviewed it. And when I look at it, I don't believe I've ever played it. That's a Haba version, so I guess there's two versions. It looks like you're racing boats around. A Dexterity style game. All right, Pentago XL I talked about before. Run Wild I talked about before. So we're kind of just taking a look at games that I haven't talked about before. Here we got Everzone Strategic Battles in the Universe. Of course, now that I'm looking at this one, I feel like I've talked about this one too. Looks like a CCG, a forgettable CCG. All right, we've talked about the Hobbit game before. Tasnia and Zoltag. All right, Tasnia. Jason Glover from Grey Gnome Games. It's a resource collecting game, and looks like you're building houses there. I feel like I've looked at this one before. I have. Okay. Zoltag. I know I haven't looked at this one before. This one here is designer Frans Benno de Long, who has done quite a few games that people have known, both heavy games and light games. He's passed away, but it was a very nice guy. There's check marks here, so I love the art of this game. It has some cool looking pieces. Wonder why this one was never printed in English. You're going to be bidding to get profitable jobs. Most money after 5 payday wins. Japan board game prize, best foreign game for beginners. That's a very specific award there. But yeah, that one sounds interesting. Alrighty, Spring Fever. We'll take a look at that one. Da Vinci's Mancala. We've already taken a look at Jungle Party. We've already taken a look at Swish Jr. Iron and Ale. All right, so let's take a look at Spring Fever. Spring Fever 2011, Friedman Freeze. All right. And now that I'm talking about this, I wonder if I may have talked about this one in the past. Because, yeah, well, that looks interesting. This one I have not. Da Vinci's Mancala. Now this looks like it has the same pieces. It's Briar Patch, but it looks like, it does say it's an intelligent adaptation of Da Vinci's Challenge. Because I played Da Vinci's Challenge before, and it has these exact same pieces, and there's two kinds of pieces. There's these rounded ones you can see here, and then the triangles. And in Da Vinci's Challenge, you're putting those pieces, oh, I'm sorry, there was a third one. No, there's just, yeah, there's two different triangles, and in Da Vinci's Challenge, you put these together and try to form shapes, be the last person to build a shape on the board. Here it looks like they've taken these same shapes and made Mancala, which doesn't make a lot of sense, honestly, because what it is, oh, I see, I guess you're still trying to make the shapes in a Mancala method? Well, obviously this didn't do that well. Iron and Ale, not a lot to talk about with this one from 2014. Grab your ale and grow your beards. That's a very dwarvy looking cover. A lot of cards in here. Huh. Was this one released? I mean, it has 97 ratings, I guess so. Iron and Ale is 100% dwarf. So you're a dwarven lord challenging others. There are several reviews, but it's really weird that there's very few pictures here about it. Huh. I mean, that keeps me from being interested in it because there's not enough pictures. Let's see here. Little Cooperation. We've already taken a look at Tiebreaker. I know during this particular one that there's already several games we've already looked at, but we will, like I said, hopefully this will be the last time we do that. Allies Case. Loot and Scoot. Black Stories Movies Edition. I'm not going to look at that because it's just like all the rest of the Black Stories where you have a story, but this Little Cooperation. Let's take a look at this one. Ooh, those are pretty cute little pieces. This is from DeJacko. I like this one. This would be a fun one to play with my son. I think he'd enjoy this. Hopefully it's a good game. There's 5 cute plastic figures. With a chunky die, you take either animal so they go before the bridge falls. Okay, so it's a very basic game, but man, those are cool pieces. This one here is from Milas Louvier, a man with many double letters in his name. And he's made Om Nom Nom, which I've played, and Food Chain, which I've played. I guess that would make sense that he's made both those. Huh. Well, Om Nom Nom I actually thought was pretty good. This one here, you're trying to find as much holy cheese as possible. And I do like these cards. They're both cheese and dice. Interesting. Loot and Scoot. He who dies with the most loot probably ran into the dragon. So, fast-paced Dungeons and Dragons. It looks like you're going through a map. Oh, this is from Victory Point Games. Huh. Victory Point makes some pretty neat stuff. It's very interesting that they call this Euro game number 2. And I have to believe them that it is a Euro game, but it doesn't look like one at all. It looks like half war game, half RPG. I like how it looks. And Victory Point games tend to get ranked lower because the quality of the games is not too high, or at least the older Victory Point games. But we have Like Minds, The Journeys of Paul, we've already taken a look at. TEG, that's initials. Rush Hour Shift, Dwarves Duel, we'll take a look at that one real quickly. And Rainbow Rage, we've already taken a look at. Trool Park, we've already taken a look at. Come on, let's find something we haven't taken a look at. Oh, here's one. Power. I don't know, I'll just call it Power. All right, so Like Minds, you're going to write down a list of things, and then you compare lists, and then you match them. So very similar to compatibility. Whew, that is a mass market board, if ever there was one. Stains that people often get on their clothes. Ooh. What's your number one answer? Ready, set, go. Gravy. Oh, no, not gravy? Okay. TEG, I guess this is the Plan Táctico El Estratégico de la Guerra. From 1978, actually. That's interesting. So this is an older game. It's a Risk game that takes place in Argentina. I like that map a lot. Oh, there's actually a computer version of this game. Huh. I don't think I would like it, but it's interesting that this exists. Dwarves Duel or Dwarf 7, I don't know how you never pronounce this. There's a bunch of games in this line. There's fall, summer, I think, and spring. Oh, it's a two-player version of the fall and compatible with the fall expansions. All right, that's cool. I like the artwork of these games. Did we ever look at Power? Power! One of the worst covers. I gave this one a 5.5. Remember, this is like a two-player tactical game where you're just putting out units and fighting each other. When did I rate this game? This was in 2012. Yeah, I can tell you now I would rate it much lower today because the idea of building these armies and fighting each other, modern war, card combat is interesting, but the graphic design of this game is not good at all from the cover on down. Alrighty, let's continue on here. Drunter and Druber, that's not the one that's won. Pets, Man-to-Man, Korea. Let's take a look. What do we find? Ooh, Climb. Yeah, Climb's a fun one to talk about. And here we got the Barbarians and the Willow game and Piranhas. All right, so Climb is an extremely unique game. This is the game right here. You can see it. You're building a mountain out of these cards that look like they're the sprues that you punch cardboard counters out, and you have different color fingers. Each finger is associated with a color, and you are putting your fingers in, climbing up the mountain. So it's like a dexterity game. It's very simple. It's really unique. I enjoy it, but it is the kind of game you bring out, everyone laughs about, and you put it away. The Barbarians, Games of Roman and the Mongol Invasion of Europe. This is from 1981. Very, very, not a lot of graphic design here. I don't really like the art, I think. There's not a lot of 80s games I do like the art for. Not a ton of pictures on this one, actually, considering how old the game is. But it looks like an older, who's the company who made this? Yaquinito, this is the Wargame publishing arm of the Robert Yaquinto Printing Company of Dallas, Texas. All right. They brought several innovations in the industry. Largely they operated extra thick cardboard for counters in their games. Okay, interesting. The Willow game. When are they going to remake this movie? I love Willow, but I got to admit that the special effects and stuff haven't aged very well. Oh, that's definitely... Oof. Okay, well, they definitely based this on art from the movie. This is definitely one of those 80s styles games. Yeah, graphic design is... I'm not even sure I like the art. I would have played the snot out of this in 1988, though, for sure, if you had brought it. So this is from Tor Books. All right. Piranhas. This is from Cosmos. This is one I played before. You need to play cards. You can play a card on top of another card if they show a bigger fish in the same color, or... yeah, right. As long as one of the fish is bigger than a fish that's already out there in the same color. So it's kind of a speed game, a fun little game by Rainer Knizia. I gave this one a 6, but it's mostly for kids. Rate and Trade we talked about in the past. Pieces Montes with the S is capitalized at the end. Ben Hurt. All right, and Nightmare House. All right, so last three today. Oh, yes. I like this game. In fact, I have somewhere in my house, after I reviewed this game, which is about making cakes, and I really liked it, they made me a little drawing of a dice tower cake, which I wanted to use somehow, but it was just a drawing on a postcard, and that was the only way they had done it, but I really liked it. It was a neat idea. You're just a pastry cake making different cards, and you have the top, the bottom, and the middle of the cards. I like the system. It's a fun little game. Yeah, too bad this one never got more of a bigger print run, but I enjoyed this one. Ben Hurt from Cheap Ass Games, of course. They always make silly games, and some of them don't do as well as the others. This company was a company that said, hey, bring your own pieces to the game. We'll provide the board, the cards, whatever we need. You bring the dice and everything else, as you can see here in this picture. This is a Ben Hur chariot racing game, and you can see it doesn't look that great and is ranked accordingly. The concept of cheap-ass games was interesting at the time. I don't think it would fly today. Nightmare House from SPI. Oh my. I didn't know that SPI made horror games. That's a big house. The Astromat, the clock, the Power Wheel. This is from Magazine 15, a 2 to 5 player game of ghost hunting and exorcism. There's solitaire rules. Well, that's kind of ahead of its time a bit in 1983. Looks interesting. Again, it looks old, you know, but something that people might... This supposedly unplayable game has lots of theme and is solo friendly. This supposedly unplayable game? Now I want to see what the ratings say. Infamously horrible rules. All right, well, I guess maybe that's the thing. Not a lot of people have said big sections of the rules did not come into play, and a number of things were not explained. Well, guess what? We are now 37 years later, and they're still not doing that in games already. Well, there you go, folks. That is what we have today. Like I said, there was a lot of repeats today, and I apologize for that, but we found the solution, so you probably won't see that in the future. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Are there games I should have talked more about here, and if for some reason I skipped them and you're like, why? Mention it in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching 10,000 and Below on the Dice Tower.